everybody, welcome back to the channel and some more Blood and Plunder coverage here. We're taking a look at the generic Dutch commanders to see what we have on tap here if we're not wanting to get into any of the named ones, because those usually have a higher cost. So our untested commander is, of course, a 0-pointer here. Got that minimal 4-inch command range, right? So we're not going to be extending too far on that as far as doling out command points, which we only have the one of, right? Now he can lead any Dutch force, so that is kind of the value of the generic commanders, and obviously the fact that we're not spending any points on it means we can have more bodies overall in the list, so that is something to consider. And basically his weapons will be whatever unit he joins, so that also provides some potential flexibility there. But what we get for 0 points is that's it. No special rules whatsoever. So there's obviously the trade-off, right? Dirt cheap, as in 0, and again getting us that many more bodies. So if we figure, like, you know, here's like a 20-pointer, depending on what units we're fielding and stuff like that, right, that could represent like another, let's say, like 4 or 5 guys or something like that, right? Almost maybe another unit in some cases. So that's one of the trade-offs, but again, no special rules whatsoever. So we go to the mid-level here if we wanted to spend 10 points, which really isn't that much, especially if we're playing a decent-sized game. We double the command range and double the command points, right? So now we're in at least a decent little bubble of spreading that command range around, right? 16-inch bubble from the commander versus the 8 before. Still weapons based on what we join, and again, the second command point at least lets us do a little bit more, right? And then we can choose one special rule from the Dutch list here. So again, the value of the generic guys is we can join any force, but also, again, kind of pick that ability that we want for that particular game. Whereas, you know, with like the name characters, it's kind of fixed, but again, usually some good combinations with them. But we can choose Commodore or Broadside. So if we're going like on the water, right? Cold-Blooded's always a nice one. Elan, we've seen Inspiring a lot. Sailing Master, another one for the water, right? But then we're having to pick and choose because there's, you know, 3 really good abilities here for naval games. Battle Hardened's a good one. Strict, of course. So, you know, we've seen a lot of that. But again, we get to pick one of those and customize from there. But if we want to double our investment here to now finally get to the seasoned commanders, right, we're still keeping the 2 command points. Again, rare to see the 3 unless we're getting into the special characters. But we add another 12 or another 4 inches of command range for that 12, which is very good. 24-inch bubble for us there. Again, weapons still what we whatever unit we join can still lead any force. So again, there's that value of picking or being able to place them into whatever force. 20 points is kind of the low end typically of the named characters. So and then here we're getting to choose 2 abilities, and again, more or less can customize them for whatever force we're leading, right? So like if we're joining like a, say, like a naval focused list, obviously we could pick something like Commodore and Broadside is always a good combination, maybe like Sailing Master and something else. So, you know, we have that. But if we're going on land, typically we'd probably want something like Inspiring, which we see a lot, and one of the other ones. But we can pick any 2 abilities. So our overall value, again, is just the customizing of that. We lose a little bit of the flavor that some of the named characters add and some of the interesting special rule combinations. But here we can kind of just pick 1, then 2 if we go here. And for that points investment, obviously we can see, you know, what we're getting for our points. We go nothing, where we're getting kind of the bare minimum, but that lets us field more models. 10 points still isn't that many, so we can still get a lot of value out of that, and then pick that one ability that we really do want to have, and then go on with the season one, which again is a 20-pointer, and getting very good command range, good normal amount of command points still, and then any 2 abilities. So let us know, guys, when you run your Dutch commanders as just like picking the generic ones, what level of commander do you tend to go for based on the point size of the game? Where do you typically tend to say, like, hey, you know, which of the lists am I picking the generic commanders for versus making the choice to go with one of the named commanders? And then what are some of the combos or choices that you typically tend to make based on that list as well? So hit us up in the comments there. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll have more Blood and Plunder for you guys soon. Thanks for watching.